it took me 30 seconds to find, okay, here are 586 examples. I can come in here and I could say, okay, what is relevant to my brand? What could maybe I piece, or what kind of element could I snag from my product display page or my homepage? That's awesome. So I'm curious, with whenever we're creating ad campaigns, like one thing I always say is don't reinvent the wheel. Model the big dogs, model the people that have won already, or the people that are where you want to be, model after them. So from like a design standpoint, anytime you're doing design, like do you model after other people? Do you get, like, we get ad inspiration, we'll go to the ads library on Facebook and we gather inspiration. Like what does that look like from a design standpoint?
Yeah. So what we do, so as you know, I'm about process. So when we're doing our web design process, we'll usually have a brand discovery with the client. Usually that's around a 60 to 90-minute session where we ask questions like, hey, what are your main values? What's your mission? What's your team member? Who are your primary competitors in the space that are doing really well? And what are they doing well and what are they not doing so well? And so we list that out, and then we'll run a competitive analysis. And so we'll create a design art board. And essentially we use Figma, which is a prototyping platform, where we'll add screenshots of websites that perform specific tasks really well. And then we'll add comments and notes as a team on components that could work well for our build out. Mm-hmm. And so we share that with the client. We let them know, like, hey, this competitor is doing this really well. I think we can emulate this. And it goes back to what you said. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's literally a ton of data out there that you can leverage from your competitors to improve your product. It's really coming down to, okay, what makes my product unique from this competitor, and leveraging that to really increase sales and create a website that works really well. So again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but introducing a unique selling proposition to an existing marketplace can really help your business improve.
Do you have like how many do you go look at like 5 different sites and gather like elements of inspiration? Like, oh, I really like this review section, or I really like this above the fold section. Like, do you like kind of slice and dice things you like, or do you just go off like one website?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll do, man, we had one site that we just finished. We had like 26 or 27 screens that we had pulled.
Wow.
Yeah. And we look at different components and pieces that would work in the design for the client. And we use that to build out the low fidelity wireframe, which essentially looks like the website blueprint. So it looks like the website, it's laid out, it's structured. It just doesn't have images, color, some of the copy, but it has the overall structure of the site and what it's going to look like. And it's really helpful, especially in this space, because we'll look at competitors in the space that work really well. For example, a SaaS product like Stripe. We'll look at the Stripe website and see the performance. They're in fintech. We'll look at the different sub pages that they have, their knowledge base, and really be able to take ideas and components from what they're doing.
It's funny because like Gary Vee will say this, and Gary Vee is a great guy, but I hear a lot of people, there's like this whole, I don't know, how there's sometimes like one-liners and shticks and that people will say and do just because it sounds cool. Like one of the things that I hear people say all the time is like, well, I'm not worried about my competition. I'm worried about me. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do my business. And to me, I'm just like, that's so dumb. Like, why would you not at least take like 1 hour of your time to go say, okay, how can I research? How can I study, do some R&D and figure out what are the other guys doing? Because if, for example, like in the ad world, like I can go to Facebook ads library and I can look at 5 competitors, see the ads are running, and I'll scroll to the bottom. I'll say, okay, this one has been running since like April 13th of like 2019. This is probably a profitable ad, or they would not have been running it this long. So I should probably consider something like this.
Yeah, it's true, man. I got my mixed feelings with Gary, man. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's just kind of annoying. But my thing with that is it's one of those things where I feel like in regards to your competition, don't get caught up with what they're doing, like you said, but be able to leverage what's going on in the marketplace. So you want to be able to know what's going on, know what trends are popular, know what businesses are performing well, because ultimately in our industry, you can get left behind quick. Yeah. You know what I mean? Facebook makes one algorithm change, boom. Now you're like, okay, what do I do with this? In web design, there's a new platform or a CMS that folks are using, or maybe there's a new interactive, something with Web 3.0. So there's so many different components and things going on. it's not necessarily like looking at your competitors and losing sleep over what they're doing, but being able to look at the space and leverage that in the projects and things that you're working on to grow and develop. That's why I'm always reading books. I'm always taking courses, because I want to make sure that I'm staying ahead of the curve so that we can provide a stellar product for our clients. They're paying a premium, so we want to make sure that they're provided with that level of service.
Yeah. So I think you have a good refined statement is study trends, study what's working, know what people are doing, but don't be so consumed by it that you feel that imposter, like you can't beat it, or you don't focus on yourself.
Exactly.
I think that's wonderful, man. So like when you go to do this research and you kind of gather inspiration, like do you just like start Googling stuff, or are there like websites that you gather this from? Like where do you start?
Yeah. So a few ways. One, we'll take the competitive list from clients and start to look at the websites that they recommended. We'll also do our own research, just through Google search and find similar websites. Then we'll use a couple websites like Lapa Ninja and One Page Love, where these websites you can visit, right? And it's basically an aggregate of a whole bunch of different websites. And you can actually organize by category. So if I'm like, okay, I want to look at SaaS product websites and that have a blue color palette, I can click it and then it'll show me all those websites. Now, the biggest difference between that and what a normal designer would tell you is, I just go on Dribbble to find inspiration. And Dribbble is awesome. Mm-hmm. You have beautiful designers that are creating stellar work. The only issue with that, a lot of time that's just rooted in design. It's not rooted in Google Analytics. It's not rooted in research. It's just like, hey, I made this website because it looks awesome, but it's not really rooted in, okay, what's the user experience going to be? Is this interface what people are looking for? And so by looking at websites like One Page Love and Lapa Ninja, you're looking at real live sites that are out there pulling that data and actually functioning in a live environment.
That I actually Lapa Ninja sounded really interesting, so I just searched this. And it's lapa.ninja is the website, and I just literally went in and I looked at designs, and I just selected e-commerce, and there are the best 586 e-commerce landing page examples. So simple. Like that's what a great hack. I think we'll probably bookmark this so we could send this to people because again, it's like it took me like John telling me where to go. And it took me 30 seconds to find, okay, here are 586 examples. I can come in here and I can say, okay, what is relevant to my brand? What can maybe I piece, or what kind of element can I snag from my product display page or my homepage? That's awesome.